Hi, thanks for joining today. My name is Matt Schutz, and I'm the Bridge Program Coordinator at Scottish Rite. A little bit about myself before we get started. I spent 20 years working in team sports as a strength and conditioning coach, 15 of those years in the National Football League, and 5 working in Division One college. The last 6 years, I've worked in the private sector with a variety of different sport athletes, and variety of ages, including some level 9 and level 10 gymnasts. At Scottish Rite, I coordinate our training programs. Essentially, these are our 4 different group offerings. We have our traditional bridge groups, which is why the program started, where our kids are transitioning out of physical therapy and they're not quite ready to get back to sport yet. So my team of coaches and we can kind of lead them, finish up get them ready to go to return to sport. Our intro group for kids that have a lower level training or have never trained, 8 years old and above. And we focus on fundamental movement patterns, how to squat, how to push, pull, hinge, and running mechanics. And then those are skills that they can really take with them throughout the rest of their athletic career. Sports performance groups, 2 groups, thinking high school kids, middle school kids, and we have done in the past and willing to do again, sport specific performance training. And if we have the demand, and essentially if we feel that we can provide a solution for the kids. What's the most important ability an athlete can have? When I was a young coach working for the Kansas City Chiefs, I was in a team meeting. The head coach put this up there, and guys were, saying strength, power, speed, deceleration. The answer is availability. Because without availability, it doesn't matter if you're the fastest, the strongest, the best gymnast. If you're not available to practice, you're not available to compete, you're not going to be able to help your team, and you're not going to be able to reach your individual goals. And this was something that really stuck with me as I'm still talking about it 20 years later. But it's just really been at the core and the root of all my programming. And I just think it's really the philosophy that drives kind of the way that I do things with my performance programs. So what does a gymnastics performance program look like here at Scottish Rite? Well, it shouldn't be a surprise that the goal is to increase physical durability and enhance skill performance. Those are our goals. Today, I want to talk about how a strength and conditioning program can benefit your injury risk, performance, your training in the gym, and then tailor it a little bit to in-season gymnastics needs, and conclude with what the science says about a few common concerns. Let's first start talking about strength training. Your body is amazing. Give it a proper stimulus, you get a proper adaptation. When you train, you tear your body down, and we hope that it rebuilds stronger and better, right? Well, proper training stimulus, adequate rest, your body responds with some injury risk benefits. Your bones grow stronger, muscles increase force generating ability, tissues and tendons increase the ability to handle load. And what does all that mean for you as a gymnast? You increase your ability to handle high force skills when your tissues and tendon loading capacity is increased, and you're going to do it with higher quality movement. Increased routine and practice endurance. The more capacity you have for these higher training load that you hold up to, the less chance of both acute and overuse injuries. What does it mean for your skills? Well, if you have more strength and more power and more work capacity, you're going to be able to train more advanced skills, and you're going to learn them faster. If you're trying to learn a skill that requires a great amount of power and you don't quite have that amount in your system, it's going to take you a long time to get that skill down. And all of this, increased routine and practice endurance, is going to lead to the capacity to move up in levels and to have success. Now, how do you mesh training with gymnastics? Let's take a look at here. We need to find a safe balance. Look over on the far right. Could be other things here, but simple physical loads that we can see. Practice, competition, and training. They place a load, a stress on your body. Over on the left, load capacity, your body's ability to handle that workload. And when those are in balance, everything is good. Overuse injuries are down, you're feeling great. All these things in the middle, and this list could be very long: nutrition, sleep, recovery, mental stress, great topics for another day, and performance training. If all those things, they can slide one way or the other. So if you're having great nutrition, sleeping well, good recovery strategies in place, and managing your stress, and your performance training is on point, and that all slides over to your body's ability to handle workload. So you can handle more workload, you can practice longer, harder, and your technique is not going to break down, increasing the chance of injuries. Take a look at this table right here. This is from the National Strength and Conditioning Association. It's really the periodization model for strength training. And this is for a strength power athlete. And I just want to kind of illustrate how gymnastics and training, they need to be on the same page. One can't be independent of the other. They need to be working together so that we're working at, if it's a high volume, low intensity phase, or once we really start to get specific into gymnastics, then our training goes the other way. So when you start at, just kind of look here at the top, I'm not going to talk through all of this, but at the beginning of your off season, preparing that phase, we're talking summer for you guys, we're working on hypertrophy, we're working on muscular endurance, work capacity stuff. We're transitioning into basic strength. Well, you guys are all in the gym. You're focusing on learning your new skills. We start to transition into the fall. We're going into strength power and really trying to reach that max power phase by the end of the fall. Your gymnastics, you got your combos going, putting your routines together. And then into competition, we need to focus on maintaining our power that we've built up at that point. So it's really, the more specific that you get into gymnastics, the volume of training goes down, of performance training, of resistance training, that goes down, and the intensity goes up. So those things need to be in balance. How do you know if somebody's getting better? This right here is one of the tests. When an athlete comes into Scottish Rite, what we do is we do an assessment and we perform a few different tests. This is a counter movement jump on the force plate. It's one I'm going to talk about. This little girl's in our intro to performance group, and she wanted to be in my presentation. She happens to be my daughter, but she is standing on our force plates. And these things are amazing. They will give you, hundreds of different metrics. I want to briefly talk about two. So let's just look at this is one athlete going across the top of the screen here. So she trained with us for 1 month. She is a 14-year-old elite tennis player, national competitor and international competitor. This first over here on the upper left, you see where it says RSI modified, it's highlighted. What that is, that stands for reactive strength index. And that's really how high she jumped divided by contraction time, or simply how high, how fast. So let me give you this example of really what that is. Say you have two athletes. One's a great athlete. They're jumping. They stick their foot in the ground, 30-inch vertical. The other person gathers all their energy, jumps up, and they also hit a 30-inch vertical. Well, that athlete that can just stick their foot in the ground and get up, they have a higher RSI. And reactive strength index, RSI, something that's very important in a strength power athlete like a gymnast. So see there, she went up 13.7%. The graph upper right, peak power, 6.9% increase. But look in the green box, 5% increase power to body weight ratio. That's really what I call the money metric, because in gymnastics, you don't lift weight. The weight is your body weight. So that's 5% increase in power relative to her body weight. Let's talk about the athlete on the bottom here, across the bottom row. This person was with us for 8 months. 8 months. 15-year-old basketball player, Division I aspirations. He's a good athlete. Hadn't trained a whole lot. RSI for him, that reactivity, 136% increase in his reactivity. Peak power for him, the green money metric, 32% increase power to body weight ratio. Now you may be thinking, hey, Matt, this training is great. It's going to help reduce my chance of injuries, help me perform my skills better, but will I lose flexibility? No, you won't, not in the long term. In the short term, sure, if there's a new exercise that you haven't done before, could have a little soreness, delayed onset muscle soreness, but the long term strength, strength training can increase your flexibility through a greater full range of motion, and you can use that end range in your skills. Will it make me bulky? No, proper programming for gymnasts does not cause hypertrophy. We don't spend time training for hypertrophy, which is increase in muscle size. Programming is tailored towards building athletic power, increasing fiber recruitment, and again, here's the money metric, power to body weight ratio. I know I covered a lot here real quick. Hopefully you're able to get a few nuggets out of that. Here's my contact info down below, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions or want to discuss anything further. Thank you.